Mord asks the waiter whether he needs a mercenary. The waiter thinks that he should be honest with them and shares a story of an incident. The waiter shares that about 2 weeks ago, ogres started appearing around town. He says that ogres are creatures which are too terrifying for humans to face, and he has heard a lot about them. But he saw one for the very first time in his life. Fortunately, his village has some pretty good fighters, and they managed to push one back. But that wasn't the end, though. The ogres' invasions continued, and as the number of casualties gradually increased, the town became gripped with fear. But then, 3 days ago, a man showed up. The moment that man heard of our town's plight, he gladly offered to help, and slaughtered all of the monsters around the town within a single day. Even the ogres that appeared again were slashed by his sword. Wait a minute, a sword? Mord thinks deeply. Lastly, the waiter informs Mord that the man he was talking about set out in the morning to slay monsters again, but perhaps due to an unexpected situation, he didn't return until evening. Mord asks the waiter about that guy's appearance. The waiter recalls that the man had a muscular body like Mord, and that his light brown hair was tied at the back, and he even used a huge double-handed greatsword. Mord predicts that the waiter must be taking about Leon Vernars, so he decides to venture there to see in his own eyes. Mord and Kale arrive at their destination and see lots of demon corpses lying on the ground. Kale wonders who is this town's hero who is killing all the ogres and demon and assumes that he must be someone from the Vernars bloodline, but Kale says that he has one confusion. If the person is a Vernars, then why he would a sword and a long one at that, he wonders. Mord replies that there is law saying that all the Vernars should fight barehanded, and he adds that the man must be trying to hide his lineage. Mord remembers that in the novel, Leon said to Aiden that during his journey to a rural territory, as he stopped approaching danger, he coincidentally stumbled into the ruins where he's said to have received the god of combat's legacy. And according to Mord, it seems like now's the time for that to happen after all. Mord says that he has arrived to the place. Kale replies that the thing that is happening in this place right now must be demonification, but the entrance seems strange to him. Mord replies that the ground probably collapsed due to some shock like an earthquake. So the ruins inside were exposed to the outside, and then he stands at the entrance and says that this is the point where the demonification occurs, and the dungeon weakens. Mord has no idea about the whereabouts or timings for entering the ruins, but he finds himself lucky, because he will get to meet Leon Vernars here. Inside that place, Vernars is seen to be in his knees. One of the monster praises Leon that he is amazing and damn strong with only his bare hand, but he asks Leon why he is using that sword even though he can't use this, probably. Leon, who is now in his divine blood awaken mode, questions the monster. What's the point of him asking that? Leon thinks that these guys are way too strong. Not only is each one of them at the level of a high-ranking undead, judging from their similar combat skills, it's a guarantee that these ashes are from Vernars' bloodline. The monster says that he is ready for another round. The monster is using a technique similar to the Vernars to attack Leon. Suddenly, Mord makes an outstanding entry, breaking his skeletons into pieces. One of the monster asks Mord to introduce himself. The other monster regenerates himself. Mord doesn't find any reason for why he would tell them his identity. The monsters thinks that Mord is looking down on them and they decide to deal with Mord first. The monsters appears right in front of Mord in a matter of seconds. Mord quickly uses his aura gauntlet along with mirage destruction to damage all the skeletons in one go, and lastly he finishes them off with his 3 impulse balls. Mord didn't even have to use his divine blood to deal with the monsters. One of Skulls, who is still alive, says that he is Count Wirgun of the Demon Delm, and he would never forget the shame Mord brought upon his tribes. The monster couldn't finish his words because Mord smashes his skull into 2 pieces. Leon wonders who is that monster of a man that can defeat the monsters without opening his divine blood. Mr. Leon Vernars, why are you here? Kale asks. Leon slides back while asking whether they are Vernars. Leon says that he would not go to the main residence. Mord thinks that Leon Vernars used to be the 5th of the Vernars' successor candidates. But 5 years ago, he gave up on the competition and left the family. And in the novel, he met Aiden after leaving and became a dependable ally to him. Mord answers that he is here just because the village people asked him to look for Leon. Leon tells that he can hardly believe Mord's word. Mord replies that it pisses him off when somebody doesn't believe their savior's word. Then, Mord reminds Leon that he is not in the state to deal with the demonification all by himself because of his injury. Kale tries to ensure Leon by telling him that he recognized Leon just because he has seen him before, as he is an advanced warrior. Advanced warrior? How can a little kid like him be on the same rank as me? Leon thinks. Kale introduces himself to Leon and says that he is from the Gatekeeper Legion affiliated with General Ilden, and adds that the Vernars doesn't care about Leon, so they won't pry on his privacy. Leon understands the situation and tells thanks to Mord for saving his life. In the novel, it was said Leon was arrogant and gloomy, but in reality he is kinda different, Mord perceives. In the novel, it is said that Leon Vernars, from a young age, he had always been compared to his talented brothers, plus he lacked support from the family. As he grew older, there were less opportunities for him, and when his mother died from an illness, he was freed from all the ties to the family. He left the main residence and wandered around the continent. Meanwhile, he obtained an inheritance of the god of combat in the ruins. This allowed him to grow as strong as his other brothers, through the help of other advanced items and God's blessing. 5 years from now, he will meet Aiden. Aiden will see potential in Leon and will convince him to jump into the successor competition. Then, with Aiden's full support, he will take the Archduke position. At the same time, he would also pass over every world fragment to Aiden, fully believing that his savior would protect the world from evil. But at the end, that trust would be completely destroyed. Mord ordered Kale to escort Leon outside and provides him with a healing potion for Leon. Leon questions Mord why aren't they taking him into the demonification raid. Mord replies that it's better not to take an injured person in the raid. Leon tries to ensure them that he can still fight, but Mord refuses, saying that he would just get in the way. Do you want to be a hindrance to the same people that saved your life, just for the sake of your own ego? Mord questions. By hearing this, Leon realizes his mistake and tells them sorry for his stubbornness. Kale asks Mord whether he would continue on his own. Mord replies by saying yes, and tells Kale to put a wind spirit on Mord to find his location. Mord thinks that Leon fell into a trap here, and fell into the ruins underground. That's how he was able to obtain the god of combat's inheritance. So how will I find it? Mord wonders. Mord guesses that he would be able to find it if he destroys this whole place. Mord destroys the place, and arrives at a place where historic books are kept. The book which Mord is looking at right now is about the research and development of combat techniques, and these are all things left behind by the Vernars. Mord decides to take some books as he already had a bag with him. He finds a box which he remembered can only be opened by Vernar's bloodline, and this is where the god of combat's inheritance is. He opens that box and sees a world fragment on it. He thinks that this is the 8-1 that he acquired. He finds a stone plaque which he assumes was used to summon the god of combat in the novel. As he touches the stone plaque, Mord feels a strange aura covering him. Mord smiles because by only touching the stone plaque, it fills him with the desire to fight. It's definitely not a normal stone plaque. Mord conceives, and he is sure it's an object that offers the same experiences as the god of combat's grave. Mord looks at something and says that this is the god of combat's inheritance that helped Leon overcome his lack of talent. He says the word dragon, a mythical creature that no longer exists. And the object that was created using the head dragon that was hunted by the god of combat was a belt named the god of combat's belt. Kale arrives at that area and asks Mord whether this belt is a magical item. Mord replies that it's apparently an ancient relic made from dragon leather. Mord wears the belt, and Kale thinks that Mord is sharp for not letting Leon see this item. Outside that area, Leon is sitting under a tree and thinks that he is powerless, and suddenly he feels that somebody is approaching him. Mord and Kale meets Leon. Kale tells Leon that they didn't find any demons inside, and Mord asks Leon how is he feeling. Leon replies by saying that he is fine thanks to them. Leon asks for Mord's name. Mord introduces himself by saying that he is Mord Vernars from the outside lineage. Leon remembers that there was no Mord in the direct bloodline, so he must be from the outside. Then, Leon asks for Mord's age. Mord answers that he is 15. By hearing this, Leon gets totally shocked. Mord wants to leave this area and tells Leon that they should go, and Leon must take rest and eat well since he has opened his divine blood. Mord says that they have to stay here for a couple of days and then leave this area. Leon questions where are they going. Mord replies saying that it doesn't matter where he is going. Then Leon asks Mord whether he is going somewhere related to the family. Mord answers by saying no. Then can I come with you? Mord asks desperately. Mord asks Leon to state his reasons for saying this, but Leon cannot explain his reasons at first. Mord gets angry and says that he would give Leon 1 day to think about it, and he tells Leon that he would decide after hearing Leon's decision. Kale invites Leon to come with them to have dinner. They arrive at the restaurant. That night, the Lord of the village asked us if there was anything we wanted as a reward for preventing the demonification of the village. Kale asked for some money, and Leon asked for a new sword to replace his broken one, and Mord asked for a large space completely isolated from the outside world. Mord is currently in his divine blood awakened form, and he provides some of his blood to the stone plaque that he received recently. Mord assumes that he entered into his mind realm, but the location isn't specific this time. Ha ha ha! What a great view! It's a great place to beat someone to a pulp! Mord turns around and sees that the god of combat is saying these things. The god of combat greets his descendant. Mord sees that the god of combat is the same being as last time. Vernars, the god of combat, explains that he looks the same because he is a remnant of the god of combat, not some illusion or copy. The authority of the god of combat in the heavens is still linked with him. Vernars notices that Mord has gotten stronger from the last time, so he tells Mord to get ready for his last lesson. Mord tells Vernars that before starting he has 2 questions. Firstly, why are you smaller than your descendants? Secondly, does someone of the god of combat bloodline realizing more than a certain amount of potential lead to any side effects? Mord asks these 2 questions. Mord told the god of combat how the Vernars family has changed and what kind of things the Archduke is doing right now to stop aging. By hearing these, the god of combat was very displeased. Mord says that the Archduke is strong enough to be called the incarnation of the god of combat. From what he knows, the Archduke has reached level 4 divine blood opening, but he's aged very quickly ever since. Vernars explains that it's possible if other blood is mixed in, considering the height thing. Since the family is more than 400 years old, he is sure various kinds of other bloodlines are mixed in. There are those among the giants who are strong but have short lifespans. Mord thinks the reason the Archduke aged so fast wasn't revealed in the novel, and if it was an issue of other bloodlines, then it makes sense. As Mord was thinking about these matters, suddenly the 10-year-old Vernars arrives. As the 10-year-old Vernars arrives, he tells Mord that he was feeling down after losing to him in the last time, so now he wants to have a go with him with all of his strength. Mord also agrees to fight with him. Getting the confirmation from Mord, Vernars awakens his divine blood, and by seeing him, Mord also does the same. Mord also feels that there is a different kind of power in the young Vernars' divine blood power. Vernars is a demigod born to the god of the heavens, Arita, and a human woman. He made the divine blood he inherited from his father completely his own, and became a divine being through his own accomplishments. What Mord use is Vernars' divine blood, but what the young Vernars is using is the Arita's divine blood. The power of Arita is definitely different from Vernars, but for some reason Mord feels this power quite familiar. The young Vernars rushed towards Mord and beat the shit out of him. The young Vernars says that it's been 5 months they have last fought, and in this, he has learned aura. He then smiles and says that he is quite late, as he had already learned aura when he was 12 years old, so now he will show him the next level that he will need to attain. By saying this, the young Vernars starts to emit aura, but one word from Mord made him shocked. Mord tells him that if he is taking about aura accelerator, a skill in which you mobilize highly concentrated aura and accelerate it at the perfect moment to produce overwhelming destructive power. Mord gets up and starts to perform the aura accelerator technique. Seeing Mord performing this, the young Vernars gets surprised. Mord has practiced this technique countless times in his mind, realm, but this is the chance for him to test the technique in a real-life combat. Mord accelerates at a lightning speed towards the young Vernars. The young Vernars didn't get a chance to move, and the attack hits him directly. As the attack lands, the body of the young Vernars gets shattered into pieces, and by seeing this, Mord gets shocked. Mord then asked the old Vernars that if he really win this easily. The old Vernars replied yes, and says that he also didn't expect this. Mord tells him that he is not satisfied and wants a more challenging battle. The old man then calls his 23-years-old self and tells Mord to fight him as he will not be disappointed. A big young guy with long dark hair appears and says hello to Mord and tells him that he will make up for his past self. The man has dark hair, but his eyes are a transparent silver that's proof that he's made most of his father Arita's divine blood his own, and he hasn't even opened his divine blood nor his mana, but it's already at Mord's level. In other words, this guy is a monster, and the real lesson for Mord begins here. The fight between them starts, and they have already fought 500 battles. In this 500 rounds, Mord has not even touched the Vernar's body. After fighting this long, the skills of Mord has risen drastically, and after 500 rounds, Mord is able to lay a simple hit on the man's face. On the other hand, Mord is completely covered in wounds and blood is all over him. The Vernars praises Mord for landing a hit on him as he was at his full power and was taking the battle seriously. Even if Mord's body recovers, but the mental damage is still there. Plus, the more he fight, the more he can really feel what kind of a monster he is. Mord gets furious and wants to punch this man's face more. At that time, Mord feels a bit shaky and he slightly hears that someone has called his name. The Vernars then ask the old man that how much time is there for them. About 100 more times. The descendant has collected more world fragments, so we have more time. Since the fragments are taking on the bulk of the power, there is less of a toll on us for using authority from the heavens. Plus, with how fast he's improving, you might have to open your divine blood. Soon, the old Vernars said this. The young one says that he didn't think that Mord has improved that much, and he also feels like Mord is reaching his maximum limit. After the small talk, the fight between them starts again. Rounds are rising up, but Mord is able to land a clear hit. Currently, it's 610th round, and the Vernars is beating Mord to his death. He throws Mord to the huge rock where the old man was standing. The rock shatters, and the old man gets down. The young Vernars then teases the old man and says that he didn't need to awaken his divine blood. On the other hand, Mord is on the verge of losing his mind. Mord was going deep into his consciousness, and is about to lose himself in there. With the rising of mental exhaustion, Mord feels that something is boiling inside him. At that time, he hears a voice which says him to leave it. Mord opens his eyes and sees a spiral of white clouds, and from this clouds emerges a divine entity. The divine being tells Mord to stop thinking so much and leave it to his instincts. In the meantime, the two Vernarzos arguing with each other, and the old man feels something has changed in Mord, and he tells the young one to get ready as the battle is not over yet. Mord gets up and is emitting huge amount of force. The young Vernars also feels the changes in Mord. Mord then rushes towards him. Seeing this, the Vernars gets tensed and awakens his divine blood. Mord gets closer to him and lands a solid him. But due to the man's divine blood, he minimized the damage and survives the powerful hit. But Mord didn't stop there. He jumps towards the man with a more powerful attack. As the attack lands, a huge explosion occurs, creating huge dust smoke. The man successfully dodged the attack, and if he didn't dodged it, Ao would be a goner. The smokes rise up in the sky and takes a spiral shape. Mord is completely drained out and is laying on the ground. Mord is also confused as he didn't know what he'd just do. At that time, the old Vernars comes towards him clapping his hands and congratulates Mord for awaking the divine blood of Arita. Mord asked him if this is the power of the God of Heaven. Yes, your instincts understood that this power was within you. Don't forget that feeling. It may have just opened its eyes, but when you finally manifested its true powers, and when it forms a balance with the power you have from me, you'll realize what it's like to have two divine powers within you, the old Vernars says. Mord also gets that maintaining balance is important, as this power from Arita is divine authority. It's strong, but it has the possibility of swallowing the human mind. Mord need to have the god of combat's power be the basis, so that he can utilize this power without his mind being shredded to nothing. As the time is running out, the old Vernars blessed Mord with divine physique for winning against his old self. After that, the old man tells Mord that he will look forward to their next meeting, and he is curious to see how much he will have mastered Arita's power by then. After that, the old man bid farewell to his descendant, and this is how the meeting between the descendant and the ancestor ends.